Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, hit the like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So Leigh Wood knocks out Michael Conlan in the 12th round, in which was an amazing fight. As it goes right now, post-fight is still going on, of course, and Michael Conlan is a bad way. He got knocked out in the 12th round, fell through the ropes and fell out of the ring. And as it appears right now, he needs to be stretchered out. And yeah, it was a bad knockout. I mean, you know, this fight summarized why we love boxing and why boxing is such a brutal sport. You know, it was one of those fights, man. And again, I apologize for the janky nature of this post-fight review, but Michael Conlan is still down, he's still hurt, he's being escorted out by paramedics on a stretcher, so fingers crossed Michael Conlan is okay. But yeah, this fight was crazy. It was a fight of the year contender. Of course, going into this fight, Leigh Wood was the WBA champion at featherweight, defending against Michael Conlan, and these two guys put on a hell of a show. Round one, opening round, Leigh Wood started pretty strongly, actually. Michael Conlan was flicking the jab from that southpaw stance, seeing what was in front of him, kind of thing, whereas Leigh Wood was the guy applying pressure. He was forcing Michael Conlan back, landed a few good power shots on Michael Conlan, and he was really dictating the real estate in round one. He was holding centre ring. I felt he landed better shots until, at the end of a round, Michael Conlan threw like a looping overhand left. Of course, Michael Conlan is a southpaw, whereas Leigh Wood is an orthodox fighter. Conlan threw like an overhand left. He kind of feinted like he was going to shoot to the body, and then Conlan come back over the top with an overhand left. It caught Leigh Wood bang on the chin, and Leigh Wood went down heavy. That was a heavy knockdown in round one for Michael Conlan. So round one was a 10-8 round for Conlan. Round two, Leigh Wood, in my opinion, didn't look like he was on steady legs. Conlan was flicking his head back with the jab, coming back over with the overhand left, and landing the better, more eye-catching shots in round two. Leigh Wood was basically surviving, trying to hold on. He was throwing back when he could, but you could tell in round two that Leigh Wood was still on unsteady legs. So yeah, round two, Conlan really bossed it. Same really goes for round three. I felt Leigh Wood regained his legs in this round, but he was still second best, eating the jab of Michael Conlan. Again, getting caught with the overhand left, which he was getting caught with all the fight. He was coming in with a relatively low lead hand, and even the low right hand, and he was getting caught over the top with the overhand left from Michael Conlan. Also, the check right hook out of a southpaw stance from Michael Conlan was catching Leigh Wood coming in. And yeah, to me, in general, Michael Conlan really bossed this fight in the first 6 rounds. I have to say, maybe Leigh Wood won one of those first 6, something along those lines. But Conlan was quicker off the draw. He was the more accurate puncher, better jab, better defense, etc., etc. He was really picking apart Leigh Wood in the first 6 rounds. However, I felt the change of pace of this fight kind of altered in the second half after round 6. Now, you know, again, in the second half, I would still say Michael Conlan probably won more rounds than he lost, but it was the body language, it was the grueling nature of this fight, and you could tell that Michael Conlan was feeling the pace, in particular in round 8, where Leigh Wood really kind of crowded Michael Conlan, collapsed the pocket, started working the body, started working up close, and he was getting some shots away. Round 10 was a similar round where Michael Conlan was really being forced back and Leigh Wood was landing body shots. His overhand right as well on the southpaw was landing. And he was forcing Leigh Wood was forcing Michael Conlan not into a boxing match, but a grueling street fight. And you could tell that Michael Conlan was somewhat fading in regards to his punch output. He was still picking some really good shots in the second half of this fight. It was clear in this fight who was the better technical boxer. That was Michael Conlan, but Leigh Wood was the bigger man. He was the more physical man, and in the second half of this fight, he tried to use that to impose his will, and he was doing that. So round 8, round 10 in particular were good rounds for Leigh Wood. Round 11, from my recollection, was also a pretty good round for Leigh Wood. And going into round 12, I felt Michael Conlan had this fight in the bag. Yes, second half it was more competitive, but for my money, he was well ahead on the cards. And I picked Michael Conlan in this fight on points, by the way. So yeah, I felt he was ahead going into the 12 rounds. I felt he would see it out, but obviously that wasn't the case. In round 12, Michael Conlan, again, he was slowing down, he was gassed. Leigh Wood was desperate, in my opinion, and combining those two circumstances, a desperate Leigh Wood who was gunning for the fences and a gassed Michael Conlan, Conlan was holding his feet a little too much. He couldn't get away from Leigh Wood, and in round 12, Leigh Wood landed a barrage of punches on Michael Conlan while Conlan was on the ropes, and he connected. I'm not sure whether it was a left or a right, but he connected with Michael Conlan on the ropes, and Conlan fell through the ropes. It looked like he was out cold, and that was the end of the fight. That was it. That was done. And again, at the end of the fight, Michael Conlan had to get ushered out on a stretcher. So fingers crossed he's okay. Fingers crossed he recovers all good. That's the main thing here. But in regards to the fight itself, I mean, going into this fight, I made a preview for it. I said I was excited, given the two styles. Conlan, more of a boxer. Leigh Wood, more of a boxer-puncher. I was looking forward to the stylistic clash, and I was anticipating an intriguing fight, but I wasn't anticipating a fight in which you could consider a fight of the year contender. This was an excellent fight. It has to be said, despite the circumstances, a hell of a comeback from Leigh Wood, because in certain parts of this fight, well, I'll be honest, in most of this fight, it looked like he was going to lose. There was no way back for him. So, as for Leigh Wood, man, this was a hell of a comeback. Michael Conlan looked really good in the first half of this fight, boxing really well, dropped Leigh Wood. Both guys were cut as well due to head clashes. It was a really, really, really good fight. Really good fight. Hell of a fight at featherweight. Leigh Wood is still the WBA featherweight champion. Fingers crossed Michael Conlan is okay. We shall see. We shall see. But this is why we love boxing, but at the same time, it's one of those circumstances which shows how brutal boxing can be. But yeah, share your thoughts below. What did you make of this fight? Peace.